we'll get started here, a couple minutes, go while thinking about it. Everyone say hi to my mom. This is Jeanette, Mother Bryant. I haven't seen her in 2 years, so I will cry if I talk about it too much. Because I went off and did my own thing. I think starting at 19 I left, so it's been a long journey of leaving so I can figure myself out and then come back, and then she can see like the evolution, and then I'll leave again. She's evolution, I see the evolution with her. It's like such a back and forth, like beautiful little kind of life tag that we end up playing, and then our relationship grows bigger and bigger and stronger each time. And definitely hoping that, in the future, in between each of those, be kind of smaller and smaller, those gaps. So again, I'm very grateful to have my mom and my biggest musical critic here. She is I'm telling you, she's the biggest musical critic of me. She was my first music teacher, essentially. My mom, she was the choir director and praise team director in church and all that different kind of stuff. That's where I learned a lot of this skill and life skill was church. And real time correction. I'm playing, I'm like 10, 12, 11, and she's singing out in front of the church, and then she would look behind me, and she'd be like, yo, you're dragging, dude. And I'm like, oh my God, are you for real doing this in front of the whole church? And she would be like, yeah. And then she'd be like, you're Russian, and you're dragging. And she would, snap at me or tell me, this is what you need to do. Because it wasn't that she was upset, it was that there was no time to sit there and be upset about it, because we were also trying to achieve something huge. We were trying to connect. We were busy trying to connect to our ancestry and connect to our roots. So she's like, yo, we ain't got no time to fuck up right now. Let's get to it, right, Mom? Yeah. Good. Thank you, Mom. I'm very happy to have all these people here. Davasaté Phelps on the EP, piano, and everything. AJ Allida on piano as well. We have the wonderful Robert Rodriguez on bass. That's my dude. We have the amazing Sam Epstein on tenor saxophone. We have, a lovely human being, Machado Mijiga, on the saxophone and effects and everything. Alejandro, what's your last name? McKamey-Gonzales on tablas. And everyone say hello to Destinee, everything. Say hello to her. She's wonderful. She's going to be on Poetry and Words today. The whole kind of premise, I'm looking at the notes that I shared with them, so I'm a little nervous, y'all. Okay. The reason I'm doing my recital like this is because I feel like my whole time at Portland State has been this battle of myself and the academics and what jazz is and all that shit, and what it's told it's supposed to be and how it feels. And, because to me, I had always felt, especially being raised in church and being raised in Harlem, I was just around the culture, man. Black culture, unapologetically, and that culture did so much for me in my learning, in my development, in my perspective. And since I was a little kid, it had built this connection to something way bigger that I had been trying to explain my whole life. I'm still trying to explain it. And I feel like the further and further and further I get in my life, the closer I'm getting to explaining. And even at death, I'm sure I won't even completely be there, but I'll at least be satisfied with the journey that I've gotten to. And this music of jazz is just created by black people expressing their struggle and their suffering and their love. And their love for those who are coming after them. And that's why I feel like the natural progression of jazz was always spiritual. You know, during slavery, it was the slave songs, it was the work songs. It was the Negro spirituals. Then it was gospel, it was blues, and it was everything. It was always spiritual. It was always spiritual. It was always connected to something bigger, you know. And I have always felt that. And so when I came into kind of the academic jazz sphere, I had a hard head. Daryl will tell you, I had a very hard head, and didn't want to listen to much. And I was like, yo, like, fuck all that music theory. Like, I was so like hard-headed, like, and I didn't want to learn that there is also other languages out there. And these languages are made so we can bridge the gap between each other. You know, everyone didn't learn the same. Everyone didn't come up the same. Being accepting of that. The thing is it's not that you need to be black to play the music, it's that you need to know where it comes from. And you need to be cool and okay with me saying that it is black music.
Yeah.
Right, Mom?
Yeah.
You need to be cool with that. Yes. If you twitch it, then that's on you, that's not on me. Because I'm gonna keep saying it. I play black music. And I love it. Because it's connected to something way bigger than me, and I've always known that, and no one can take that away from me. And that's why I have these individuals up here with me, is because they understand that too. They've always understood that. And that's why I'm very grateful for my mom, who instilled that in me at a very young age. And my grandma, who took up and came and raised. Also while my mom was away, in the military, 22 years? Navy. 22 years, just retired not too long ago. Yeah. All for us. Also, she could give us a good life, my brother and I. Yes, I didn't see her very much growing up, and I was always questioning why. You know, where is mom? But we would see the boxes coming in of clothes and the trips for our birthday and the iPad when I was 13. You know, I didn't need a fucking iPad, but she did it anyways. You know, the love was still coming in, and I didn't even have to see her. It was felt, and it didn't take me till like getting in my 20s to really be like, oh, holy shit, like she's still doing it to this day. Even not seeing her all the time, everything is still, it's like inertia hitting me right now. So I'm very grateful for you, Mom. And I wouldn't be able to have this master's recital or any of this without everything you did. I wanted to tell you that straight up. So that's why I had folks bring flowers and stuff, because this is for you. So love you. All right. This is spiritual music. This is natural. I don't even have to say it's spiritual, because it just is the music. That's what it is. It's a part of the structure. It's what it is. And so we're going to be playing the beautiful music of John Coltrane, who I love, because the concept of a love supreme has always been one that I mean, folks that know me know I can go on and on about, right? I can go on and on about that. You know, the supremacy of love is why we're all here. I won't go too into it, but I just want to express it through this music, not just words. The supremacy of love and the journey to love and accepting it and forgiving love and everything. So this music tonight is a dedication to all the women in my life, all the women who raised me. I was raised by all of them, every single one of them. I'm so grateful. And I thank every single woman. So this is all for them. This is the Her Love Supreme, this is the Grandma Universe, this is the everything. This is the all, you know. And so all this music tonight by Alice Coltrane and John Coltrane and myself, and the words of Des, and the words of these individuals up here are gonna speak to that. Let's give it up for Bryant and Shade if you're doing wonderful photography. first word you're going to hear from is our wonderful Robert Rodriguez. Thank you all.
What if I told you I'm capable of doing most everything when I'm sitting still? To feel connected to someone I love. To engage in a piece of their personal ritual. I don't associate myself with religion, but the way I arrange my body places me in a similar position. I meditate to feel close to her. And as my mind inevitably wanders, I'm reminded that this isn't the only place I can find her. If I anchor my mind and into my body, as an observer of my thoughts and not the creator of them, like happens when I'm present. Love grows when I'm an active participant. And I can find her when I think of love. When I think of care. I know I'm in her thoughts, whether I'm here or over there. So I walk. And in my mind I sit still. I give my attention to warmth of sunlight on my skin, softening my soul without even
first couple things. That was great. So we're about a little over half done. Give it up for the band, y'all. Yeah. I totally forgot to say it at the beginning, but I feel like it's pretty implied now. We're meditating, we're praying up here, especially Robert with that beginning solo, right?
Yeah.
An hour solo up front. That was beautiful. Thank you. Oh man, let's give it up for Sam on saxophone. Machado Alejandro McKamey-Gonzales. Des on words and voices. Davasaté on the keys. Allida on the upright. Albina on the drums too. So we went through the first couple tunes. We did a little devotion that I took from the old church days. Just doing a little devotion and setting the space for what we wanted to be, which is a space of prayer, meditation, and love, spirit, and everything. Just had to connect to ourselves real quick. So we had to take some time to do that. Going through Journey in Satchidananda, which is a Alice Coltrane, beautiful tune of hers. So we had to go through that to get closer to where we want to be. We also went through the acknowledgement from the I Love Supreme suite of John Coltrane, and we did it our own way. We took it to church a little bit. We had to go to church just a little bit. Don't get scared of church, y'all. Come on. And then we did a composition of mine, really accentuated by Dez's words, Singularity. That was my tune, but Dez's words over that just made it so much more big to actually get to the singularity point, actually get to the expansion point. So let's, again, Dez. Then we just did the third movement, Pursuance from I Love Supreme. Wow. I'm very grateful for all of you. Thank you. Grateful for my mom here too. We have two more things. One, the two that are left are compositions of mine. One is called Anointment, which is about my grandmother. And y'all know I can talk about her for days, but specifically I wrote this tune when she had a heart attack a few months ago. And I thought that was it. And I was so far away. I was here and in the midst of school and everything was happening. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to see her for her last moments. And so I sat and kind of had this idea. And I sat with actually Todd Marston, who's here, like been such a big supporter of me in composition. And like I'm so appreciative of him sitting with me and helping us mesh languages, you know. So he helped me expand my voice. And I sat and I wrote this for my grandma because it talks about this ritual that she would do where she would always pray for us. She was always saying, like, I'm always praying, I'm always praying, I'm always praying. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, I totally get it. And she would anoint us, like, as we were leaving the house. She would always wait by the door, can't escape it. She's gonna put a whole glob of olive oil right on your head before you leave the house. And, you know, she would always say, I'm always praying. And I can't deny that her prayer worked. Here I am, feeling that her prayers worked, and that her love worked. And I'm not talking religion, y'all. I'm talking about just connection and love to this woman. That works. Love works. That's what I'm saying. So I wrote this for her. And then the one after that, which would be the final piece, is called Black Recital of a Nichiren Prayer. It's about my Aunt Renee, who passed away a bit ago. And she was such a big point in my life, like such a massive woman in my life who showed me the arts. She got me outside of like just being a Christian in the church and playing gospel music. She would take me to, MoMA, and she would take me to the Guggenheim, and she would take me to all these different places and show me things outside of my bubble of Harlem. She's like, there's also so much more, and then she ended up kind of accidentally showing me Buddhism, where one day we're playing in her house, and she's like, there's one room you can't go into. Playing anything, there's one room. You tell a kid that, what are they gonna do? So I go, and I sneak into that room. It almost felt like I was drawn to it. I think she kind of wanted me to go in there, now I'm thinking about it. Because I remember walking in, and dude, I remember getting dizzy. There was just what the fuck is going on? I think I was 8 years old, or 9 or 10 or some shit. I just remember hearing this tone. It just permeated my skull, this long tone, and it was loud, and I couldn't hear anything else in the room, and I'm just standing there in the middle of the room. I remember, I'm and she walks in behind me, she's like, yo, didn't I tell you not to be in here? She's not mad or anything, but she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what is that? What's that noise? What's that tone? She's like, I don't hear anything. And my brother comes in, he's like, yo, what are you talking about? There's no note. He calls it a note. He's like, there's no note, bro. And I'm like, yeah. Yes, there is. Y'all are crazy. I'm not bugging out. I'm not tripping. There's a tone happening. And I remember just the look on my aunt's face. And then she turns me around, and there's this big, and she opens this big chest, and there's this big Buddha statue there. And it got louder for me in my head. And I was just wow. And she just started smiling and hugged me. And I'm not saying oh my God, Buddha is the way, what the fuck ever. I'm saying there was she, what I'm saying? I'm not converting shit here. I'm just saying for me, that's what it was. It could have been something else for you. A ritual and a prayer is so different for everybody. That's what I'm saying too. You could eat 6 tacos and yell at the top of a cliff, and that's your prayer. I remember my best friend Cam said that to me, and that stuck with me forever now. That's your ritual. If that's your ritual, that's it. But mine, after hearing that, was sitting with these long notes and sitting with those tones and trying to achieve that and trying to hear that. So, and that drone felt like the most connected thing I ever felt in my life. And it made me feel love to my aunt. That's what it was. Again, love showing itself once again, like it always kind of does. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote this for her. And, but you probably won't hear from me again after this, because I don't want to talk after this, but again, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Sam, Machado, Alejandro, Dez, Davas, AJ, Robert, Mike, Bryant, Shade, everyone, for hearing what I have to say and believing in me over these last couple of years of knowing me. And I couldn't have done it without any of y'all, especially y'all up here too, the people I see out. Couldn't have done it. I ain't gonna get choked up. But really, I couldn't. I couldn't do it. So I'm ready to hear Dez's words now. So thank y'all.
take the shape of us and us of it, like a hand-stitched, personalized glove, made with the care that only my grandma could give. Why love? I mean, why do we choose to love? Why do we choose to run away from it the very second a failed attempt starts to burn? And then privately yearn for that same love. Maybe it's good that our blood starts to warm, that tears fall from our faces when it no longer lives in another person for us. It just means it was real. The length of a moment of love does not dictate its quality or the severity of the ways in which it altered you. Just like the width of our hearts does not determine how much we can love. It matters more whether or not we can recover enough to again sustain that same love and more. Maybe it's okay that some loves don't last forever. And maybe not here, but beyond, it does. At least I'd like to think so. Due to her words spoken over me, the way she prays for others, herself, and me, full circle, non-stop, unwavering. For her and she, just like love and me, like matter, will never truly cease to be. Because love, untouchable, and everywhere all at once. I don't love again because it never hurt. I love to rebuild trust with the lover that is myself. I love because I need to move with the courage to keep the divided pieces of my pride on the shelf. I love because I want peace. To teach myself that love isn't an earthquake. It's solid ground underneath my feet. To learn to be admired in the light as well as the dark. Why love? It's my nervous system resembling a stream, free-flowing, warmed by the sun in the lightest months of the entire year. It's the color of my skin and the texture of my hair. I want to know in real time what it feels like to witness myself and others standing by my side when I don't shine, when I don't perform. To get to know myself again as a lover. So I'm growing a new heart in my garden, but this time I'm treating it like I should have been. Like she did. I'm treating her like a work of art. Realistically, we love because there's no better thing we could be doing before we depart.
Machado, Alejandro, Robert, Ross.